Hello everyone and Happy New Year. I hope you have a good 2019. I haven't done much on the layout because over Christmas I've had a pretty awful cold which seems to be dragging on forever. Although I've gone into work a few days, I felt pretty rough, so I've done a bit but not as much as I really wanted to do. Anyway, so this is the layout with the mud down. I've started to clean up some of the track. The 00 track is fine and the outer loop of the 009 is fine, and the locomotives will run through the first point and they'll go to the second point and then into that siding, or they'll come around to the very end siding. But I have a problem with that first point when it comes to go into that first siding. I can get it in there, do some work, clean it up. When I switch it back again, it won't go past it forwards. I do remember having a bit of a problem with this before I put the mud down, so I know where the problem is. It's where one of the points touch, and if I push against it with my finger it works perfectly, so I need to do perhaps a bit more cleaning with that, but quite frankly it is a pain. But it was nice to see the locomotives back on there again. I've added a couple more locomotives to revert back to rods from the Great War, so I've got this Dean's Goods and then also a Robinson 04. I did have 5 locomotives with me, but on doing lots of research on the ambulance trains today, I can't find any evidence that the ambulance train used in the Bachman, the city of Birmingham, that class of train, locomotive should I say, ever went to France. So I think because they've left it, although they've got it in khaki colours, they've left it without the rod numbers, I think because it probably never left England. And if anybody's got any evidence to show that they did serve in France, then please let me know, because that would be cool. But if not, I'm not going to be able to use it on this layout, and instead I'll leave the 4 locomotives I've got and similar number of 009 narrow gauge locomotives. I'm going to start gluing in some of the trees that I painted and cut to shape a couple of weeks ago. It's not the final version, but just so I've got some in place. So this just shows where they're going to be, and I've got them on stands at the moment, and then I'm going to make holes using this bradawl. Of course, if it's a baseboard and wood, I would drill little holes as I did with the Thomas and then use PVA to glue them in. But because this is just polystyrene with some plaster, it's easy enough to push through and then glue roughly where you want them, and then I'll add other effects at a later date. So this shows you some of them in place before I add little bits of grass, water and other colours of mud. And also against the backboard, I'm not too happy with those trees, but what I'll probably do is add more smaller trees and bushes and some more stumps before I decide to actually take any out. And as you can see, I've painted the buffers for the 009 white, which is the colour they were painted in casualty clearing stations during the Great War. I've decided to add some fake stained glass windows, church windows, to this church. And because you can see through the roof where the shell damage is, I'm going to put some pews that you can see from the top. Fiddly pews I might add because they're very small, but I've ordered some to put in there. I was going to put something black across so you couldn't see in, but it just might be a nice bit of featured, and perhaps put a couple of troops in there. I might even put some light or a fire in there. In actual fact, the Germans completely blew the church up in Boiseleu-Ormont, but I thought it'd be quite nice to have it in there. So I'm kind of cheating a little bit on the history of the place for effect. And lastly for this update, I want to do a little bit of work on the Nissen huts. I didn't really want you to be seeing through the window because that means putting beds and lots of other detail in there, and they're very small windows anyway, but I do want to light them, and then one wonders about light escaping or whatever and it looking too obvious. So I thought I'd put some little fake curtains or blinds in there, and then I'd also, when that's done, paint the inside of some of the modelled Nissen huts, because they were white plastic and I could imagine light, there'll be some light bleed, so I painted them black just in the hope that that's going to disguise that. So I'm going to fit them soon and put some lights in and have a look, see what the effect is.
there's been a massive derailment